Hi, Gwen Atkinson here at Let's Talk with Gwen. On a Sunday morning, I do a breathwork webinar with a beautiful man called Anthony who organises, runs, facilitates Alchemy of Breath. You can find it online. And this morning, he suggested an intention that we might like to set, which was around forgiveness. But not forgiving others, but maybe those that we'd harmed or that had hurt us in some way, asking them to forgive us. And at first I felt such a resistance because I have one or two people that I feel have wronged me. And to ask them to forgive me felt like a huge ask. And my ego was saying, why would I do that? But I decided to run with it anyway. And through the breathwork class, I asked forgiveness of a couple of people. And the deeper I went with it, the more I realized that in actual fact, the person I need to ask forgiveness of is myself. And the more I breathed into that, the more the feelings came up and the sadness of all the times I'd hurt, judged, criticized myself. So when I started to forgive myself, the next thing that came up was shame. A lot of shame around things that I had done and that I judged myself over. And the shame that came up needed forgiving, but the shame also, I had to ask forgiveness of it because I had suppressed it, I had ignored it, I had judged it, and I'd made it dark and painful, and I'd repressed it. So the more I asked forgiveness of it, the more it came up, and it was painful, and I cried. But through all of that, the more it came up, the more it was released. And I loved it. I gave it love as well. So this was a very deep process this morning, but I really felt it was one that was needed to be shared because a lot of us carry a deep sense of shame over things that we may not have had any control over, things that happened to us as a child when we were innocent. And there are a lot of messages out there in the collective around blame and victimhood. And I so suppose this morning, what happened for me was I acknowledged that shame and I didn't judge it and I allowed it. I may look at it a little bit more later on, but for now, I brought it into the light. I just brought it up, allowed it to come forward and allowed it to have some space in my life. And after that, through that acceptance, through that noticing it and giving it attention and loving it and asking for forgiveness, I felt so much calmer and I felt much more accepting of myself. So in actual fact, that's just what I wanted to share on this Let's Talk, because these are exactly the sort of things I want us to talk about. You know, how our sense of shame prevents us for being the wonderful potential that we can be and stops the love. And that's what we really want to do, is love ourselves and get this love out into the world again. Okay, thanks for listening one more time.